Welcome back, Super Metroid fans, to the Super Metroid Randomizer League 2023 Week 4 Co-op Full Randomizer and Boss Shuffle. It's been an exciting couple days so far with races. We have an entire full day of races for you today. On the mic, my name is Kev Nastix, and with me is Kip. Kip, are you looking forward to this one? This is going to be exciting.
I am, Kev. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Really happy to be able to jump in on this second race. I have a lot of reasons for wanting to com this. Number one, commentary is fun in general. Number two, always fun to catch up with Kev. Number three, one of my best friends is on Lone Rangers, Mass Hysteria. And then number four, both of these teams are in my division, and my team has to play the Clippers, I believe, next week. So this whole thing is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to talking about sort of the co-op aspect. One of my favorite things about League is I really like how they let us experiment with different formats throughout the league, and I have really enjoyed the process of doing something a little different. Co-op is very different from multi-world, but I like both of them. I like how they're different, so it's been really fun to see how the different teams have approached these things.
Yeah, these settings for some people are like, yeah, these are really great settings, but it's also been contentious for others, especially with the rise in popularity of area randomization. But with the vanilla map, I think the co-op aspect of it, doing full with no countdown, makes it equally as compelling as an area race. I think you're going to see if the runners are, thinking about it and being kind of smart, you're going to see a lot of route deviation so they can cover as much ground as possible to get as much info as they can to kind of help their teammate figure out where they should go for the good stuff. So with that, we are off. If you want to maybe explain a little bit more, Kip, about what full randomization means for items and what possible situations we could see because of the boss shuffle, that could be helpful for some of our viewers out there that are not aware.
Yeah, so I'll try to do kind of a simplified version. Full is just there's 100 items in Super Metroid, and the items can be shuffled basically anywhere. Excuse me, as long as it fits within the logic. There are certain restrictions for items in certain locations, but it definitely opens it up more than like a major minor, which by extension usually it almost sounds counterintuitive, but it usually means that you might have a little more difficulty with energy tank distribution in full. So that's always something to watch out for. It is vanilla map and it's ball shuffle. I actually think that ball shuffle on vanilla map is actually, whether it's major, minor, full, chozo, whatever, I feel like ball shuffle on vanilla map is one of the highest likelihood of sort of wild variants. There's a lot of possibilities that can happen that make routing, kind of all over the place. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. It's also going to be interesting to see how the teams decide to share the information or try to just split up the duties. Remind me, Kevin, I believe, or Kev, excuse me, I believe that this is average time. So it's not the last finisher on a team, but it's average time. So you're actually incentivized, both runners, to run as fast as possible, as opposed to doing more scouting and letting your teammate catch up with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is average time. And before we talk a little bit more, I want you to pay attention to Mass Hysteria's sprite every time he faces forward, because you're going to see a really interesting sprite that Papa Schmo came up with. It's a nod to the movie Airheads, as the team name Lone Rangers is, which was the team I was on before I got hurt and I picked the name. So I have a very sentimental attachment to that team in this race that's going on right now. But yeah, I actually think the whole boss randomizer thing really makes vanilla map really, really cool, because with the boss shuffle, because if you kill Dragon somewhere else and you're able to navigate through Meridia, you don't need to worry about the traditional items that you need to get through Batoon Hallway. You can circumvent Batoon Hallway just completely. So, and also it makes an early wreck ship play not necessarily a good idea, because if you don't have Fantoon down, you have no access to any of the items outside of spooky missiles that you would find in wrecked ships. So I think it really makes for some interesting choices. We do have a screw attack find from Mass Hysteria right there. So Nasarius is going to get that. Fox is going to get that. Lomian's going to get that. So I want to see who decides to hightail it over into Gauntlet. I think it would be a good play if one runner goes up to Gauntlet and the other goes down Terminator and only goes back to Gauntlet if it happens to be something good. I want to see a lot of route deviation. I want to see a lot of geographical separation here so that the runners can cover as much ground as possible and help each other out with where all the good stuff is.
Yeah, great point. A couple things to add here relative to that. That point you made about Dragon being in a different location and then being able to potentially go the back way to skip Batu and Hallway, that is an interesting wrinkle of ball shuffle. But what also comes with it is if you do it that way and don't have speed or ice, that means you don't have a Zeb skip. So that means that now when you get to Taurian, you're going to have to use ammo to kill the Zebs, which by extension, I would say typically that both your missiles and your supers actually have value on Mother Brain 2, unless you have, I would say missiles start to run out of value basically if you have like plasma and wave. But if you have anything less than that, then your missiles still have some value that they can provide. So it's kind of interesting to see how that would work. Let's talk for a moment about what you mentioned. You're on the injured reserve this season, Kev. Mr. Fox was added late to the Lone Rangers. I got to say, I'm very, very impressed with his play. I already knew that he was a really solid vanilla runner, but I don't think he'd done much rando before this. And he has been performing quite well, in my opinion, in the races that he's played. Then you have Mass, who, again, is a good buddy of mine. Mass doesn't speedrun Super Metroid like a ton these days, but I actually think he plays really, really well for the amount of time that he spends on it, if that makes sense. He's a very efficient player.
Makes perfect sense. Mr. Fox has some of the best vanilla movement you're going to see in the world. I believe Fox is either a 45 or a 44 any percent runner. So anybody that's familiar with just speed running in general, I mean, that is unbelievable. I mean, those are killer times. Mass, I think, has a little bit more rando experience than Mr. Fox, but Mr. Fox does have a little bit. It's going to be hard, though, to compete against Nasarius and Lomian, who are actually both rando mains. And we saw that the way they played the seed last time was really, really good for them. And to get back to what you were talking about a little bit before about ammunition and all that, I'm kind of curious to see if Mass and Fox will pick up a little bit more ammunition this race than they did in the last one, because that kind of led to a turning point a little bit late in the seed last race. I don't want to completely spoil what happened the last race, but I feel like a lot of people in chat that are here right now, probably just stayed after the first race. So anybody that wants to see that first race, please check it out. And Hollow's Eve pointing out that, Fox is 43-33, number 35 any percent runner. Like, he is disgusting.
Kev, you know the way to my heart. I'm always a fan of picking up more minor items in the game. Yeah, I don't care how much the quote unquote know-it-alls on the YouTube comments try to bully me on the comments of my races, but I'm going to keep picking them up. But yeah, on the other side, as you mentioned, Lomian Jones, I got a chance, and I think you did too, Kev, to meet him at SG Live. Yeah, really, really, really nice guy, really smart. I really like his rando play style. And also Nasarius, who I believe I played in week 7 of the multi, a really strong rando player too. So in my opinion, the Clippers are a very, very good team with a lot of experience. But I am very pleased that last match was very competitive, and I'm looking forward to this race too.
Yeah, and we already have a mention in chat that, we don't have any power bombs right at this moment, and we are going to get a play from Lomian. Lomian is going to go do the sports bond play right now. I'm not going to tell you exactly which race that this really made a big difference in, but a sports bond play was something that absolutely won a race that we saw earlier this week. So I like this play from Lomian. I think it's absolutely worth doing with no power bombs right now. You are seeing a deviation right now with Fox going up at Red Tower and Mass going down at Red Tower. So I really like that deviation. I think the teams are doing really smart things right now. So we'll see if this sports bond play kind of makes the big difference here. Fox is probably deciding whether or not he should go up here. This is a safe play because he can go up and find his way into Criteria and just loop back around if he doesn't get any power bombs here. But looked like he was a little scared of a soft lock right there. So really interesting deviations going on here, and we'll see if this Spore Spawn play does pay off. I wonder how long it's going to be before Master Fox makes that play, because if this is your first required pack of power bombs, there could very likely not be another one available, but it could also be bombs.
Yeah, well, we didn't find a power bomb, and so Mr. Fox is stuck here. But
well, he can go up.
Well, yeah, he can go up, but I'm saying
he's going to have to
now forced into a situation that is quote unquote less efficient.
But we didn't see a gauntlet check, did we, Kip? I don't recall.
I don't think so.
So Fox could do gauntlet.
Got to do that, yeah. The only, again, the only issue with that is it's a little bit slow because you're only guaranteed to be able to get one item. But maybe the logical power bomb is there.
It would be really cool to see imagine logical power bombs being at gauntlet and then Lomion missing out on it because of the Spore Spawn play. And we have speed booster and plasma, so we're finding some really heckin' good majors like already off the bat.
Oh, wow, yeah, those are super OP.
And that is a really cool ship, by the way, for Mr. Fox. I like that ship a lot.
No, but to your point, I like Lomion's play here. I think I would have done the same thing. In fact, watching him do this reminds me I probably need to practice Spore Spawn today, because my race is tonight. But yeah, I like this play. He can, and there's I really like how the Varia guys. In fact, we've added this into Dash 2. I like how they've made the save station accessible without bombs there, because you just don't want to get punished so hard. So he's going to check this. If this is a power bomb, this is a mega huge play. It is not, but that's okay. He can reset. And again, given the nature of, this being average time, I really don't think, I don't disagree with that play at all.
Yeah, chat pointing out that Croc is available, so could absolutely be where our first logical power bomb pack is. And it's actually kind of looking like that's going to be the case because we did not find one at Gauntlet. So there's...
Hold on, Kev. I've got another opportunity for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready for the big brain prediction?
Let's hear it.
Logical power bombs, mother brain missiles. You have to go back down and use your screw attack.
Oh. You know what? This is you got a couple more years on me in Super Metroid, and this shows why. But yeah, it could absolutely be old mother brain. Wow.
Whether or not Fox thinks about that, okay, he's doing it.
Wow, Fox is probably thinking about that. That's definitely a big brain play. I would have forgot about it.
The good news, though, and you know how it is, with the Varia Randomizer, with the way they kind of distribute the minor items sometimes, it's like it could be that these are the logical power bombs. It could be nothing, but it's still possible that the other players could run into another pack somewhere else.
So let's go. Looks like Croc is a very good play right here. But with Speed Booster available could also be Bubble Mountain, no? Because we have enough E-Tanks available for at least Ice Hell Run. Well, no, we've already seen the Upper Norfair items, right?
I actually would have kept that E-Tank if I was Fox, because you basically get back up in about the same time as the reset. And
they need bombs or PVs.
It is possible that E-Tank is like required somehow.
Well, so with Screw Attack, no, you'd still need bombs or PVs to get into Bubble Mountain and to get into Ice. Well, unless Ice. Well, no. If Ice had your. All right, I'm just gonna watch this. I've seen too many seeds.
Let's talk about another element of this that often gets somewhat overlooked because we get so focused on kind of like I'm going to call it the computer end of it, like what is literally happening with the placement of the items, and we sort of ignore the human element. When you get in situations like this is a pretty trolly start. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we might even have to see like a required deboost off the what is it, the Ripper or those gamuts down in for alpha PBs.
Right.
Oh no, we have speed. No, we could get there with speed, can't we? With a short charge? I don't know. But yeah, this is very trolly.
But we just need, like, what I would recommend to people is you really just gotta like slow down and try to relax. I know that sounds kind of like silly to say, but a lot of times when things are not going your way, the tendency is to start trying to do wild stuff, because you feel like you're getting behind, etc. But the reality is that the other guy or the other team is dealing with the same set of circumstances, right? So sometimes you just got to relax, keep going through your progressions, and then just kind of live with the results. I would not recommend, starting taking a bunch of chances yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like your comment of just kind of like slowing it down. Like, it can be very much like feeling like, especially when it's trolly, you kind of want to speed up a little bit, going, oh my God, the other team probably already found something. I got to hurry, hurry, hurry. But, thinking about it logically, like what checks do I have available? How should I go about this? That's a really, so Mass can do that short charge, but it's really hard. I kind of like going back and farming and Green Gate glitching to get X-ray personally.
Yeah, he should check. There we go. And I'm curious to see if NASA is going to find it at grapple. Power bomb progression at grapple would be hilarious. Nope.
Oh my God. Maybe Mass is going to find it right here. Did we see a PB check? Oh, wave.
Haven't checked the PBs yet. Also, they can't, as far as I know, they can't logically check the pantry missile right now because I don't think that really, really super short charge is a required thing to do.
No, it's not. You don't have grapple beam, so you can't do like the quote unquote intended method. So pantry's not in logic, but Croc PBs are in logic.
Correct.
And but Croc E-Tank, I don't think, is Croc E-Tank in logic because you don't have a suit, and that's a lot of lava, and you don't have grapple beam.
You know, it's funny. I know for sure because I've practiced this. You can definitely get it and get back with speed booster with 2 tanks.
You can, but is it in logic?
That's what I'm saying. I actually don't know. So it'd be kind of curious to see, what happens there. But I'm glad that they saved. We'll see here.
Yes, you can, son. This is, I would say that this is probably this is easily the trolliest start we've seen in this week. I'm gonna say ice is not a bad call for where PBs could be, but I'm still surprised we haven't seen this PB check yet. I think Masarius is probably going to do it right now. It is a little tricky to do.
Yeah, I would actually, for certain full modes, I would recommend learning that little gamut deboost because I don't think that's a required tech, but there are very specific circumstances that come up every so often where you'll be there without the required item to get up there, but if you can get whatever's there early, it really helps.
I'm calling power bombs at ice. Because the game, you could be forced into a potential soft lock in the game having the item you need, right? I think, you could be forced possibly soft locking, looking for an item. I want to see Fox save here. Wait, does Fox have enough energy? We had enough E-Tanks available to do the Ice Hell run, right?
Yeah, you can easily do it with 2.
Yeah, so Fox has 1 in a reserve. You're going to have to make sure they're full.
Well, quote unquote, easily. Sorry, as long as you don't make a mistake, you can do it.
I mean, honestly, for runners you're obviously one of the more experienced kind of RBO and runners. Well, no, D-Web, you wouldn't have to do an Isolus escape because it would have to be power bombs or bombs here. So you could be fine. I would be fine doing this on 2 tanks because I play a lot of RBO. I like this check from Fox. Let's go. I feel like this is going to be where our PBs or bombs. I want to see bombs and not PBs, though, personally. I like torture and runners. It's fun.
Yeah, Fox looks pretty comfortable here, assuming he...
Let's go. There it is.
Yeah, he looks pretty comfortable. He just needs to empty the reserve here just to be careful. I think he'd still be able to make it. Ooh, okay, he doesn't have much. He should try to kill the Sovas here.
Sovas are generally good with big energy. If I was him, I would just take the reset and do a lot more farming personally.
He could reset, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's totally done right here. But with full, if he had full...
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry, Kev. I got to make a quick point. Y'all remember earlier when I said that he should have kept that energy tank at Mother Brain? I'm telling you, man, a lot of times, it feels like you're behind and you're like, oh, I need to, reset or not pick up some of these items. I'm telling you, man, there are a lot of times where getting and keeping items that on the front end seem like too big of a time investment actually can save you on the back end.
Well, I mean, it was certainly very likely that hell runs were going to be in logic here anyway. So I think I actually like this play. Fox going down here to farm here to like at least get the reserve because you got a lot of bugs and that could potentially be faster than farming the Sovas. But here we have Nasarius finding power bombs at Cathedral, but hasn't done ice yet. So that's kind of interesting. I don't really know why you would do that before doing ice. I guess he's worried about soft locking at ice and not being able to get out anyways without power bombs or bombs. But, you know, if he thinks, I think Nasarius has been around long enough that he knows that not only are those power bombs not in logic, but you cannot get out with them, that I think he's going to go do an ice play right now and not get stuck playing. Well, maybe he's going to get stuck playing here for a little while.
Man, everybody in chat's giving me grief. I can't win, Kev. Like, I'm telling you, I get made fun of on YouTube all the time for picking up too many items. Then I mention that I think people should pick up more items. Then people ignore my advice in races all the time. And then when I mention it when it actually helps, people are like, yeah, see, everybody knows that.
So Nasarius is hoping for some PBs over here, but again, this hell run is not with 4. Yeah, this hell run is in logic. So Nasarius might be hoping to get more E-tanks in Bubble Mountain and go back for those power bombs, thinking that those power bombs could be in logic based on what he finds here in Bubble Mountain. Because at 4 E-tanks, Cathedral is in logic. So this is going to be interesting. So I think this is going to give Lone Rangers an edge because I absolutely believe Fox is going to get in and out with these power bombs. Mass will do the same thing. And that's going to help keep them a little bit ahead right now, unless Nasarius does pick up a power bomb pack or some E-tanks here. Getting the item is 6 E-tanks, exact science. I'm pretty sure Cathedral is 6 E-tanks for that to be in logic. But I don't know. I agree with you, Kip. I pick up miners until I get charge beams. So, like, I am all about that. And I am not about resetting E-tanks when potential hell runs are going to happen. So I'm on your side when it comes to that stuff 100%.
I just think that there are, like, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of circumstances that come up where technically if you knew exactly where everything was in advance, you could do some skipping, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you don't know, I think there are many more times that the stuff that you're picking up early will pay off for you down the line, more so than the time save of skipping it. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of just sort of like using the early game, generally speaking, to sort of equip yourself for later situations. I think it works pretty well in Super Metroid. But I understand, you know, if you feel like you're in a situation where you got to cut some corners to hang in there with maybe a faster opponent, I can understand why people would skip stuff.
I don't like this Crumble Shaft check with Fox right now with the energy he has. Like, I get it, but okay, he's got screw attack, but he's like you're one hit KO from those Deskigas. He's got to be heckin' careful. He got out alive, but that was pretty ballsy.
Well, you know how it is, Kev. Screw attack. Screw attack forgives us of a lot of our sins. You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, but it kind of makes you feel. It makes you feel a little overpowered. You're like, well, nothing can touch me. I got this.
Right.
Lomian is making the smart play right now, though. Going to check Ice Beam while Nasarius does these hell runs, and they're going to realize that. They're going to realize that this is where the logical first power bomb packs are. So Nasarius is going to come back here. So this gives a little bit of an edge right now to Mass Hysteria and Mr. Fox. They are in the lead at the moment as far as items are concerned. So let's see what happens as far as these hell runs are. Mr. Fox and Mass are kind of going to be a little screwed because they don't have as many E-tanks as Nasarius and Lomian has. So they could get stuck here at Bubble Mountain for a little while. So I kind of like it. Okay, Mass is going up. I like this play by Mass right now. Maybe learning a little bit something from...
Well, he can go back to Green Brinstar too.
Yeah, and I actually think that's the best play to do right now. Honestly, I kind of like Fox doing these hell runs here, but you know, this is bad with his loadout. Actually, I don't know if I like these checks with Fox's loadout, to be honest.
Oh my God.
Seriously, Batcave is a scary, scary room.
It is. Kids go practice Batcave, but also one thing I've been trying to put in my arsenal is understanding how to do pause abuse a little bit better. That's a situation that he for sure would have survived there if he'd have paused, but he cut it real close there at the end. But hey, he's alive. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and anybody that doesn't know what pause abuse is, the game cannot kill you while you're going into a pause section. Oh, Fox, you should have gotten that because you're going to have to deal with lava on the way out.
Yeah, he'll get it.
But the game cannot kill you while you're in the pause state. So you can kill those bugs, have the drops come there, be at 0, not die, and pick up the drops in the cutscene, more or less. I think that's an okay way of explaining it, but, you know. Oh, God, Lomian, be careful, please.
You know, it doesn't come up very frequently, but this room right here that Lomian's in backwards, like coming out of Crumble Shaft, is actually a little awkward. The way the creatures move in the room, I've had plenty of times in the practice ROM where I've gotten hit. So I'm glad to see him manage it.
Actually, in a race yesterday, we saw it was either yesterday or the day before, we saw one of our runners die right before Crumble Shaft, and Crumble Shaft held the Varia suit, and they didn't even go back. So when you have no suit and low energy, that's a very dangerous room.
Mass finding Fantoon at Kraid, and so hopefully he'll be able to dispatch, but he is on power suit only. He needs to play this very carefully, but he does have Screw, which is nice. But anyway, this is kind of interesting because now he can, if he wants to, he could also go scout wreck ship stuff.
Yeah, and so Fox doesn't need to do Crocomire because there wasn't anything necessary down there. So Fox could just kind of finish hecking around here in Bubble Mountain, see if he can find a suit here, which I'm not convinced he's going to. But it might be smart for them to both head up to wreck ship. Fox will kill Fantoon, get the boss down, and it does look like that's where the logic is pointing us right now.
Just take it easy, Mass. There we go. Nicely done.
Yeah, anybody that's ever done Suitless Fantoon is very, very scary, especially low energy with just, one tank and a reserve. It's basically like, a little bit safer than a new route fight because you have that reserve, but still very dangerous when every hit from Fantoon does 40 damage.
Hey, no joking here. Reserves don't get a lot of love in Super Metroid Rando. I actually legitimately prefer to have at least one. I don't necessarily always want to pick up a ton unless it ends up being like a Suitless Lower Norfair situation. But generally speaking, just having one actually presents you with a few extra safety nets. So I think reserves are actually pretty cool.
Me personally, just the same as you were talking with miners and stuff like that, I pick up every E-tank and reserve that I can find until I have Varia suit. Also, because you don't know, some of these seeds can force you to the place where Suitless Lower Norfair is the fastest way to beat the seed. So, the more, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen this seed, but the more E-tanks and reserves you have, I just think it allows you more options and more choices as you get later through the seed, and you don't have to worry so much about taking saves in situations like this. So I am a big advocate of E-tanks and reserves, and until you get a suit, and I'm a big factor on picking up ammunition until you get charge beam.
If I'm Mass here, I think what I'm doing is I'm going to go reverse Green Brinstar, and then I'm going to run it all the way to wreck ship.
Yeah, I am kind of surprised that Mass is going to do this rather, but maybe the plan is for Fox to go do Bryn while Mass just, hightails it to wreck ship and scouts that area. So if that's the case, I do like this from Mass, unless Fox decides to not do Bryn himself.
Well, I still don't like it because
the first guy should probably do it. But go ahead.
The first guy should go to Green Bryn here. And again, I'm talking about this specific scenario. The reason Mass should go to Green Bryn is because it is very possible that he runs into enough stuff to deal with either Dragon or Ridley.
Yeah.
Meaning by the time that he gets over to Wreck Ship, it's possible that Green Bryn holds the key to actually being able to beat those bosses. And so if he just goes and scouts it but doesn't go to Green Bryn, then he's going to end up in a scenario where he's got to go all the way back just to come back again. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I think it'd be better for him to do that loop, but it doesn't mean it's going to work out that way. It could turn out that Kraid's at Wreck Ship and then Wreck Ship is stacked and Green Bryn doesn't have anything. We'll see though.
Well, either way, if Fox does do it, it'd be like it's good route deviation, but probably, like you said, the wrong player to do that. And I do want to point out, Nassari is doing a really good job getting back through Cathedral. Unfortunately, could not go Frog Speedway because had no explosives to do that. Does have to farm up for ice now to get his PBs. So right now, definitely Lone Rangers have not a commanding lead, but a pretty sizable lead at this moment. And, Lomian has Fantoon down, is going to make the play. Let's see if Lomian goes to Green Bryn. Looks like Lomian's doing the exact same thing Mass did. So both runners letting you down, Kip.
Well, they're not letting me down. And, again, it's a little bit more of an aggressive play. It doesn't mean that the way that I'm looking at it is going to work. But I do think it is a wider net of dealing with a variety of potential issues, if that makes sense. But yeah, we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
It makes perfect sense. It is, but it is definitely a more aggressive play for the reasons that, oh God, Fox, please be careful. Jesus. All right, if I'm Fox, Fox, you have speed booster. What are you doing? Oh, he turned it off. Yeah, I think I'll be surprised if Fox doesn't end up going through Pink and Green Brinstar right now. So I really expect that that's where he's going to go, and I kind of hope so. And then I would expect Nasarius to do the same thing, but I really hope Fox picks up the Sloters refill and doesn't just kind of go ham here.
Yeah. Sour Patch Kids, please.
Son, you can have whatever you can find, and then lunches. Let the dog.
That's a nice energy tank. By the way, I guess this is me just being unaware, but where did the phrase "go ham" come from? Is ham an acronym or is ham actual ham? Because
I spend time with kids, go ham is hard as a mother.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, why isn't man, I'm going to go sausage on this thing. Or I'm going to go bacon.
I don't know. I just, several years ago, I coach a bunch of, I work with kids for a living. And that's just something they used to say, maybe 7-8 years ago. Kids used to say, go ham. And I had the same thing, an old man moment. I'm like, what do you guys mean by that? And they're like, oh, come on, coach. It's hard as a mother. And, I'm like, oh, okay. I get it.
I never knew that. I guess it's good for me to know because now I'll make sure not to accidentally say it in the wrong context.
It's the same thing. I like some of those phrases, the kids have me saying yeet and all kinds of nonsense like that,
Yeah, it's really funny how language, we basically end up meaning the exact same thing. We just find different ways of saying it as time goes on. But yeah, so Mr. Fox and Nasarius basically in the exact same spot. Looks like Mr. Fox got in there a little bit faster, but Nasarius did get fast on the first round there. Mass is going to go ahead and check. Oh, this is actually kind of a dangerous check right here. Oh, Mass.
I don't ever like checking that room, period. I mean, I understand why you would check it right now, and I really hope Mass has a save. I wasn't paying that close attention. But I really kind of hope that Fox and Nasarius check. Look at that kill by Mr. Fox. That was a beautiful Doppler. Wow.
Yeah, also big ups to Mass for saving at Wreck Ship. I will say, though, sometimes I hate doing this on commentary, but this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. If you go clear Green Brinstar first, then you probably show up in here with even a few extra E-tanks, and you can protect yourself from certain bad situations. But again, I'm hoping that since both players decided to go up, I'm hoping that they find something good here.
Yeah, pretty good. So we've got some young folk in the chat right now, Kip, making me feel a little bit old, but I'm making them feel a little bit young. So I guess it's kind of nice in both ways. But This is quite a compelling race so far. I don't know who I would call ahead at this moment. I think it's we're at a position where it just kind of depends on where Nasarius and Mr. Fox decide to go and what they actually find there. Who would you call ahead at this moment? Like, I think it would depend on whether Fox and Nasarius go to Pink and Green Brinstar. I would be surprised, honestly, if neither one of them do it.
I don't know, man.
I'd be surprised if both of them don't do it. I mean, Fantoon is definitely baiting you into wreck ship. But again, there's that whole coverage. And the teams that have been successful so far that I have seen are the ones with the most deviation. And Fox is doing it. At first, I was worried he wasn't going to. Maybe just had a moment there going, hey, I could find something really good here. So let's see what Nasarius does. Like, it's not a bad play to go to wreck ship, but you are orphaning a huge amount of items. Like, Pink and Green Brinstar is generally there's a lot of good stuff there. And what did Lomian find? I did not happen to see what was in the garbage location there.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I was talking about earlier.
Ooh, Ridley.
If Mass goes to Green Bryn earlier, even if he doesn't find Varia Suit, if you look at, let's really get into the nitty gritty for just a minute of some rando theory, right? If you look at his distribution of his E-tanks and his ammo, if he finds maybe one or two more tanks in the Green Bryn area and, a couple of supers, it is actually very doable to kill Ridley, even if you don't have Varia Suit in that spot, which is a really big, nice thing because then you don't have to come back and do it.
Yeah, the lowest loadout that I've ever killed Ridley with was 4 E-tanks, a reserve, and over 30 supers. So very, very doable.
It's doable. I wouldn't recommend going for that. Did you do that in a race?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty aggressive. Yeah, I mean, you can, and I think in this case, it's actually a little bit better of a situation because you can save literally one room away. If Ridley was in lower Norfair for that, it'd be, I think, a little bit tougher. But yeah, you can do it. But also at the same time, you would want to make sure that you're really confident about doing that.
Well, I'll tell you that it was not an aggressive play. I just had a situation where I happened to be there. I'm like, if the boss is Ridley, I'm going to try it once and then I'm going to be out of here. And it just so happened that I had everything I needed to just barely do it. Yeah, definitely not a situation you want to find yourself in. So, I kind of put both of our teams on equal footing right now with Nasarius and Fox both being here. I like Nasarius checking the power bomb lock location. I don't know why. I like the E-tank check before Spore Spawn. I think it's a little bit faster. Especially Wave Beam is kind of logically pointing you in that direction, but Fox doesn't have Wave Beam. And it's just a super missile and more super missiles, which I think our runners are going to be really happy to see, especially Fox and Mass would be happy to see more super missiles because ammo was kind of like what did them in last seed. But what about Waterway? Did we see a Waterway check?
Yeah, Fox checked it. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't a major.
Eddie Coons might be holding something good. Mission Impossible, even. Is Nasarius orphaning Mission Impossible? That could not be good. I mean, you're going to end up probably going back that way anyways, but I don't know. I think I'm full clearing if I'm both of these runners right now. I'm full clearing.
Let's see what Lomian finds here. I've got a feeling this is going to be an interesting check because I don't think it's one that Mass will go back for. And so if it's something good, all right, it's just bombs. That could end up potentially being a good situation for Lone Rangers because if Mass chooses not to go back there, that's probably like a minute and a half check or so, and obviously the average time matters. But we'll see.
Lomian's going to be, should be okay getting out of here, but Spiky Room of Death with this loadout, he's not at one-hit KO. Well, actually, yeah, he's pretty much one-hit KO right now. He's got to be careful. That's probably the best item that could have been there for the Lone Rangers because it's not anything that Mass needs. Although, What if that's your worst room in the game item, Kip?
It's possible. Yeah, certainly possible.
Not like 100% likely, but that could be the only worst room. Well, have we seen any other spaces at Wreck Ship Reserve? Okay. All right, so that's not going to end up hurting Lone Ranger, so that's good for them. Gotta love Spacer when you already have Plasma, you know?
The main thing Mass needs to pay attention to here is just, it's fine to be farming up here. It's a little slow, but he needs to make sure he does not get touched in this next room. He's got the power suit. I think the pancakes do like 80 damage. So you just do not want to get hit.
Well, not only that, but he's going to have to take at least 2 spike hits to get across the grapple room bowling. So he's got to take at least 2 hits there and wants to make sure that he keeps enough energy to be able to spark and get that space jump at the Wreck Ship Reserve. That's going to be a 3 hit right there. So should still be good. He's got reserves. He's okay. Shout outs to Jestro Zooks, by the way, tracking 4 runners all by himself and not missing an item yet. So that's pretty awesome. Yet. Things are going really good right now for Fox and Mass. Mass being ahead of Lomi and not doing that check for bombs is going to be really helpful. We got an E-Tank here, so even if Mass was in the unfortunate position of not having enough energy to spark, he's got enough energy right now. We could see a suit or something interesting add gravity. There could be another major there. Who knows, Kip? We don't have like a good loadout for required suitless anything right now, except for those hell runs we saw. So I'm kind of thinking we're going to see progression at gravity suit. I think we're going to see either Varia's suit. I think we're going to see gravity suit at gravity. That's what I'm calling. Ooh, okay. Where's our other suitless item? We could have ice at Climb Supers.
Is that literally the last location that we haven't seen yet in terms of what's in Logic?
We haven't seen Climb Supers yet.
Right, is that the only item?
No, actually, we haven't seen 230 missiles. We haven't seen
X-ray.
We haven't seen Indiana Jones. Imagine if you had to go to Wreck Ship, get your space jump, and then go to Indiana Jones to get your suit.
Yeah.
I've seen a seed like that before. It has happened.
It's not the most fun situation, that's for sure. But yeah, I've seen that too. I had a seat at SG Live where it was bombs at bowling missiles, and that was the only way that you could get to pantry, which was like some kind of suit or something.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that I can't remember who you were racing. It was either Mass or Zeb, I think, with that seed.
I think that was game 1 against Glove, actually.
Oh, was it again? Yeah, and there were a couple trolleys. SG Live had some incredible seeds.
It did.
Fox is tired of missiles. Fox was tired of missiles in the first race they had. So I'm kind of surprised Mass. Well, you know what? I'm not surprised Mass went back here because, like, when's the next opportunity he's going to have to come back to Wreck Ship, and probably didn't want to leave this item behind. So with Space Jump, this makes it a much easier check. He's just gonna leave it behind. I actually like that reset and leaving it behind because bombs are not necessary by any stretch of the imagination right now.
Looks like Lomian is basically caught up. Lomian and Mass will be leaving the Wreck Ship just a few seconds away. I think Mass will maybe be about 6 or 7 seconds behind, maybe 10.
Where's Mass going?
Is he going to pick Spooky again, maybe? Or did he already check it?
Oh, he hasn't done the boss yet. He hasn't seen the boss yet.
He saw the boss.
So he's just going to do it. Let's go. I mean, maybe he's just going to one-try it. Does he have 2 full reserves or just 2 reserves?
That's a good question. I do not know. I know he turned down a reserve earlier.
I mean, I like this play. This is doable, but it's hard. With 5 E-tanks, this is, I think, really safe for an experienced runner. Like with 5 tanks, Kip, are you doing this? I am.
Well, I'm probably not, but that doesn't mean that other people shouldn't.
You do play safe. For as good as you are, you play a little safer than somebody of your caliber. I like it, but I wouldn't do it.
Well, I mean, I could go the other way and say maybe I play smarter.
I'll take it. So we got a spring ball pickup for Mr. Fox right there. So that is our potentially required suitless. But here's the thing. Like, does Fox go and get his high jump boots? I don't even remember where the heck the high jump boots were. Somewhere in Wreck Ship, right?
I don't know.
High jump was at Gravity, so Fox has to go all the way through Wreck Ship to Gravity. But Fox is going to go down here and check Billy Mays. Ridley's not going to have Grav. The Ridley fight is not in logic.
I feel like we're about to see something here at X-Ray. I feel like it's got to have something. Yep.
Gravity at X-Ray. Wow. Okay, so we could potentially see Varia and Meridia. We almost had another Kevnastic suitless seed, as Wordspoken was saying in the chat. I have a good record of that. Doesn't mean it's not still going to happen on Mr. Fox and Mass's side. Depends on whether or not they decide to go do that X-ray check. I kind of hope Varia's at Billy May. It can't be. It's Criteria. That would have been fun, though. All right, come on, Mass.
Yeah, so at this point, you gotta say the Clippers are in the lead here. Mainly just because I think Nefarious is a good bit ahead of Fox, and they have the most important information currently. The flip side, though, is that Nefarious is going to be going over, I guess, just to get the space jump. If Fox was feeling...
Fox is going to go get Gravity Suit. Like, as soon as Mass says Gravity's here, now Fox doesn't have space jump.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. If Fox was thinking about it, he would use his spring ball to get it. But
does he know how? I don't know what his level of experience is, and this is without a suit. Those spikes doing 60 damage. I mean, with 4 E-tanks, it's really doable, but Fox has no good way of getting into or out of X-ray.
See, it's fun. I think it's just funny. Like, I guess it just depends on like what you prioritize, because like to me, trying to fight Ridley on four tanks or whatever is like, you can do it, but it's just like, it's extremely precise. Whereas this, like 5 energy tank spring ball X-ray is like extremely easy if you know what you're doing. So, I guess it just depends on what all you've practiced or whatever.
Well, if you want to talk about me for a second, I would be better off with the 5 in a reserve Ridley fight than the X-ray, because I don't know any strats for X-ray. But I totally get your point, and I'm really hoping that Fox does go and get that Gravity Suit. That might help things out a little bit, but it looks like Fox is going to go to Wreck Ship and probably get an easier access. Looks like he's going to try to go get his boots or his high jump boots, and so I definitely think the Clippers have kind of pulled ahead right here, just simply because of where that Gravity Suit is. And but you know what? There's charge. Lomian already got charge beam, so yeah, I give the Clippers a good advantage here.
If Fox was comfortable with the spring ball jump, then this would be a pretty massive advantage for them, because he would immediately get the gravity. Then he could spring ball jump in worst room, and it's looking very, very likely, I guess, or maybe even like guaranteed at this point, that Varia is somewhere in Meridia. And so Fox would be skipping all of this stuff that Nefarious is doing in Wreck Ship. They would actually be multiple minutes ahead, but I think because he's going to go in this direction, I think this is sort of like the critical juncture of this is probably going to put the Clippers in the lead.
Yeah, potentially, but taking a look at what Exact Science says, like imagine Fox going and taking out Ridley right now, and just getting that boss done. That would save a little bit of time, and it looks like that's probably what Fox is going to do. So I really, just for the sake of getting things done, I want to see Fox take out Ridley here and be successful with this fight. Because both Nefarious, Lomian, and even Mass will have to go back and do that a little bit later. But this will buy a little bit more time for the Lone Rangers. Oh, God, Fox, you only have one power bomb. This is not good. And you didn't... I personally would have wanted him to save stuff in his reserves.
Yeah,
that's one power bomb here. If he gets health bombed, he's not going to... Well, he's got Spring Ball, but no, he's not going to be able to get out. Needs a power bomb drop from Ridley.
He can get out with this loadout.
With Spring Ball, yeah? Okay.
You can equip the Spazer Beam and do
a
jump.
Yeah. You're right. I don't like popping that reserve, though, because even if he kills Ridley and he gets caught...
unloading the reserve, first of all, it depends. If it had less than 100, then it doesn't really matter.
True.
But now he got it. But this is going to be super close because he got the bad grab. But
yeah.
But he's going to get it. He's going to be fine.
Actually, at this juncture, you want to be health bombed. I don't like checking the item, but like, all right. Now I love checking the item. By the way, that worked out as well as it could have. GG, Mr. Fox. I love it.
I mean, yeah. I guess the only thing that could have been there that would have really made a huge difference would be like ice, or maybe high jump boots. But no, that was a good fight. It is going to save a little bit of time him doing it early, but I don't think it's going to save like the amount of time that it's going to save versus skipping all this and coming back to it later is like less than a minute. Like it's a really small amount.
I think Fox looks like he thinks he needs a power bomb to get out of here because he's farming. I can't see any other reason why you would farm.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. He just needs to use his Spazer, and he can jump and break some of those blocks and then use his Spring Ball to get out.
Yeah. So having Spring Ball here is really good. So he figured it out. Now he can farm the bowls for power bombs, which is actually what I would do. Oh, can he get to them, though? No, he can't even get to the balls. So he's just got to get out of here.
There's one above him in Sponge.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Fox, I think you need a power bomb to get... Yeah, you need power bombs to get behind the reserve location.
There's Varia.
Oh, Precious Room. Okay. So that puts the Clippers in go mode. And this will basically effectively put the Lone Rangers in go mode. Everybody knows where everything is they need to complete the seed. So it's just going to be a battle of just literally how fast they're all able to do it.
Yeah. Again, I kind of hate to say it, but the Lone Rangers had their opportunity to pull back in the lead, but at this point they are probably behind. Even though Mr. Fox was able to take down Ridley, the amount of time that is going to save versus how far ahead Nefarious is very, very small. So at this point, the Clippers would have to, if we're being sort of realistic here, the Clippers would have to do something really bad for the Lone Rangers to get back in it.
I would have to agree with you there. Oh, Nefarious. Bad spark right there. Sometimes it's like Main Street Missile can be so aggravating in a lot of different categories.
Oh, there's that ice beam.
Did Lomian not check?
Apparently not.
So that'll give a little bit of back to
Yeah, between both
but
runners,
not-
it'll give maybe about a minute and 20 seconds or so.
Well, Lomian only has 10 power bombs.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Surely, Lomian will find another pack at some point. And even if he didn't, I mean, it's slow, but it's not slow enough to where like he could just do the first room and then go back up the elevator and farm, and he would lose some time. But it wouldn't be enough for what they're behind. Of course, he doesn't know that.
Yeah. Almost takes the wind out of the sails a little bit when you see one group of runners so far ahead of the others. But what do you think? Like, what's Lomian looking for? Just more ammunition or potentially ice beam? Like,
well,
I don't
from
know.
his perspective, ice would help, but also another power bomb. But I think he's got to go this way just to get out anyway to head to Lower Norfair. So I think he was just trying to see a couple of locations.
I think that's probably good. Just kind of scout what you can all the way out. I don't know. I kind of gotten in the habit recently, before I got hurt anyways, just kind of got in the habit of like when I'm in go mode, even if it's like not the greatest go mode, just trying to get to the end of the street as quick as I can and kind of only check the things that I, are kind of like right in the way.
Wait, did Fox go all the way to wreck ship, but didn't get the space jump? Like he literally went through bowling, right?
Wow.
So he's literally doing the play that I said earlier would actually like win them the race, but he's doing it after the fact. Like he went all the way through bowling and didn't even pick up the space jump.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused about that.
Max Frost says that he didn't have enough power bombs to do it. And same with Jestro. He only had one power bomb. So I slept on that too. I didn't notice that either. But yeah, he didn't have enough explosives to get there.
And I mean, like he's doing the spring ball right here clearly. So he clearly knows how to do it. Yeah, Yeah,
if he knew how to do it, why didn't he do it earlier? I think I have to say that that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
If he'd have just done this earlier, they would have won the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right. And Exact Science pointing out that it's also a speedy jump from the right side when you have high jump boots and speed. So, yeah, interesting. That might be worth asking Fox in the interview, like, bro, if you could do this, why did you not do this earlier?
Well, a lot of times, people are thinking about different things. There's been all kinds of races where I've done something and then realized later I could have done something else. So.
Oh, for sure. Fox has to be really careful. He's a one-hit KO here from the spikes. All right. I like this Lomian and Mass sync right here. That was pretty cool.
Fox doesn't have to detour back to wreck ship, but that detour is very, very minimal. I mean, if you look at kind of Mass and Lomian being somewhat equal here, the difference between where Fox currently is, where Nass is way more than what it's going to take for Nass to go just kill Ridley at the end of the run.
Yeah, because Fox has to go all the way through Meridia. And Nasarius is basically at the end of Meridia. Already has the Varia suit. And Fox has to do Lower Norfair. So I would say that the Clippers are a couple minutes ahead. Probably more than, what do you say, like maybe 5 minutes ahead? Maybe more.
I think 5 is a little extreme. I guess it depends on how long it takes Mr. Fox to get through Meridia, but 5 minutes is like a really, really long time in Super Metroid Rando. I don't know. I'd put it more at like maybe 4 minutes. But it depends on how much stuff Fox does.
He should be able to beeline it right to the Varia suit Doesn't have to worry about too much. Has plenty of good movement, plenty of good ammo. I mean, really should just be able to go kill the boss, go get Various Suit, go kill the boss, and then hightail it to Lower Norfair. Nassarius, Fox, I think, does have better, like, if you want to say quote unquote vanilla movement than Nassarius does. But Nassarius just has such a huge geographical advantage right now that Fox might be able to pull it together a little bit, but I don't think enough where it's going to matter as far as the end of the race.
Yeah, it could end up being about 5 minutes. Mr. Fox needs to remember to put plasma back on and use the microwave. Okay, yeah, he already did it. Good job.
Then you also have to factor in Turian, though. Like, Nassarius is not going to get Ice Beam. Is Mr. Fox going to get Ice Beam? Because that will have ramifications. Oh, he did get it. Or he did. Well, anyway, so you think about it, is Mr. Fox going to get Ice Beam? Because that has ramifications with your beam damage.
He should definitely get it. I mean, like, it's info share. Mass can tell him that it's there. It's definitely, when it's like one room transition away, it's definitely worth getting. So hopefully he'll grab it. It'll have a little bit of ramifications on the overall damage and how fast Torian goes. I don't know if it's going to be enough. It really depends on, honestly, like, I don't think that the Lone Rangers are dead here, but they're going to have to, they're going to have to play better than the other team. And a Miss Craig quick kill on Lomian's side definitely helps them a little bit. But yeah, the Lone Rangers don't have time to really be checking anything else or doing anything outside the norm. And they need to play better than the other team to get back in it. But it's certainly possible.
Do you think the Clippers are going to continue to check for ice? I think Lomian might make a couple checks just trying to get some power bombs, but because this not being area, he's not going to get that refill by going down the elevator. Going to have to fill up the ship and then hope for some lucky drops. I will mention we did have a race either yesterday or the day before that where a runner went down to Turian with 10 power bombs and got like derp drops and actually made it all the way through. But that does not happen often.
I love how I've heard reference to derp drops multiple times, and I hope everybody understands that every time y'all see derp drops, they're talking about when he raced me.
Exactly, when he got that lucky power bomb. Those power bombs.
He took a really aggressive Metroid play and got extremely lucky. But power to him.
I know my history. I know my Super Metroid history. At least from 2020 on.
Yeah, okay. Fox has got ice. At this point, like, if Lomian, for example, continues to check a bunch of stuff and never finds another power bomb, it is possible that the ice beam combination on the left side, and if they play well micro-wise from here to the end, it is possible that this could maybe put them back in the race. Lone Rangers are still, I would say, an underdog. If you handed me this exact situation, I would say they're still an underdog, but it's definitely not completely over.
So also taking a look at it is Mass does have full beam combination. Mr. Fox does not. Nassarius has plasma wave, but Lomian only has plasma charge. So little things like that could make a big difference. Exact Science mentioning in chat that if Mass can get the crate quick kill, that would make a big difference because Lomian missed it, which I don't know if that already happened, and I'm just looking at chat. Like I'm all over the place right now.
Mass got it. Mass is already on the way out.
Oh, he's already on the way out. So that actually does make a big difference there. Those little things are going to matter. So there is a scenario where the Lone Rangers are not completely out of this race right now. There's a couple things that will make a big difference.
It's going to be really wild if, like, what Fox ended up doing that cost a bunch of time by not going immediately to X-ray to get gravity. Like, it's going to be wild if literally Lomian, maybe either purposefully or even accidentally forgetting to check the space jump item, because I mean it's just one door transition, and clearly Lomian is checking a bunch of stuff now, right? So it's like there's not really a good reason, if you're going to check a bunch of stuff later, it's not a good reason to really skip that one. You can at least look at it in like 6 seconds, right? So it's going to be really interesting if that ends up being the thing that puts Lone Rangers back in it, because when Lomian didn't check it, that meant that Nass didn't check it, etc.
Well, yeah, so that could have possibly lost them, between the two of them, at least a minute or more of time if you count up all the checks and all the time that they're not saving by having ice. So that's probably best case scenario for what could have happened for the Lone Rangers. I'm trying to think of where Lomian can actually go. Okay, so Lomian's picking up this power bomb pack here. So
okay, there you go.
That's not good for the Lone Rangers, but had the heads up play knowing, because Nasarius checked this earlier and did notice that there was power bombs there. So that is actually very, very good for the Clippers, very bad for the Lone Rangers. But I'm still saying the Lone Rangers are, well, Mr. Fox has to do Lower Norfair, so probably out of it at this point.
Clippers are still ahead. I mean, Mr. Fox is just, like, in terms of looking at the late game, like go mode situations, like Mr. Fox is pretty significantly behind Asarius. Now, Mass is ahead of Lomian, and will, you know, assuming somewhat equal performance, will
be able to finish the speed first.
Yeah, we'll gain some time with the Ice Beam, and I assume that Mr. Fox should be able to gain a little bit of time with the Ice Beam as well. However, nice Lava Spark there by Mr. Fox. However, it just, I mean, like when you are, when your opponent is leaving Upper Norfair and you are entering Lower Norfair, like that's a really wide margin. The good news is that the boss that he has to fight is actually Kraid, which is a lot faster than any Ridley fight would be. So.
Still pretty good. You know, I think that both of the, I think both teams have routed this really, really well and played this really well. I think that I have to agree with you that the biggest thing that turned the race for everybody is Mr. Fox not doing the that gravity suit when he could have, knowing that he had the ability to do it. But maybe just didn't feel confident. Maybe he wanted to get that speed booster and high jump boots as a backup. I don't know. Or I mean, high jump boots as a backup. But this is kind of silly to me that he didn't pick up space jump. Maybe that was just to save time, and I don't know.
Well, apparently he didn't have the power bombs, but I guess like
that's right.
The point that I was trying to make earlier is like it is literally the only thing that you would go over there for, right? And the only thing, like at that point, they knew where gravity was. If you can get to gravity, then you literally have no reason to pick up space. Like, don't get me wrong, y'all, space jump's a nice item, but like especially late in a run, it is not saving you 3 minutes. Like it's not even close, right? So the time investment to get it is not balanced by what you gain out of it. And so there really wasn't any reason to go into wreck ship at all there. So especially to go all the way that deep, do the bowling cutscene, and then not even pick it up, you know, is tough. But this was still a really interesting race, you know. Plus, you know how it is, Kev. Sometimes in rando, you gotta play a lot of seeds and like see a lot of situations before you kind of like figure out how to handle a lot of them. And so that's just kind of part of the process.
Yeah, and even still, it's much different when you're running a race and commentating for a race, you know.
100%.
We have a more objective standpoint, more objective viewpoint. We don't know what kind of, you know, we don't know what the runners are talking to each other back and forth, what their strategies are, you know, until we see it kind of unfold on screen. So I'm not going to fault anybody for how they've played. I will say, I feel like that power bomb pack for Lomian was just very, very clutch, because the amount of time it would take Lomian to leave Turian, go all the way back to the ship or the B-Toms to farm for more, or the Kagos to farm for more power bombs. Well, Lomian, you're going to want to be a little more careful there, but that power bomb pack might have been the final thing, the final nail in the coffin for the Lone Rangers, though.
I still don't think the Lone Rangers are completely dead here. Mr. Fox needs to get this quick kill. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't think they were completely dead. They were definitely an underdog moving forward, but this is an extra 20 to 30 seconds that Mr. Fox is spending on Kraid. You know, it probably won't matter, but I guess we'll find out.
I love that. I love that sprite that Papa Schmo designed, the airhead sprite that Mass had coming down the elevator. That is just so cool.
Yeah,
it's too bad that like you can't have that sprite through the whole game.
I didn't even pay attention. I need to look at it. I'll pay attention when Mr. Fox. Well, I guess Mr. Fox doesn't have it on.
No, he doesn't have. So just like when Mass gets on the ship at the end of the game, you gotta check that out. This is looking pretty cool. Look at how close Nasarius and Lomian are. They're gonna finish almost at the same time. So I haven't peeked in the race room yet, so I have no idea how close this is, but it's looking like it's fairly close. Just not close enough for the Lone Rangers to close this gap. When do you race, Kip? Do you race today or tomorrow?
Yeah, we have a back-to-back tonight, starting I think at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Zost and I are going to run this time, and we're racing, I think, Ye Old Fart Gamer and Salty Pigeon. So that'll be fun.
Nice. Yeah, Exact Science, or I'm sorry, or Cypher. Mr. Fox does have to go fast. Mass has a pretty big lead on Lomian, but like I think would have to finish. I don't know. I mean, we might have to check out the average, but
I do think it's relatively close. But again, Mr. Fox just has so much geographic space to make up here. I feel like maybe somewhere between like a minute and 2 minutes if you average the times, like the projected times at the end. I still think that Clippers are probably favored here, but we'll have to wait and see. Sometimes things can go weird with the power bombing.
Are we going to have to do math? I think we might have to do math.
Also,
so it kind of depends.
Having the space jump here hurts too.
So Nasarius and Lomian are going to finish really close to one another, but Mass is going to finish a couple minutes ahead of Lomian. Yeah, Exact Science. Tracy has a website for it, but I'm not getting on that website. I've got too many devices open as is.
Okay, so Nasarius won't get to do a stand-up glitch. Lomian can, but the damage he'll output is literally half, I believe, of what Mass will pump out.
Yeah, that full beam combo makes a big difference. Stand-up, I think, even done optimally, only saves between, 12 to 15 seconds?
I don't know. Maybe, honestly, I think it's about... I always thought it was about 20, but I don't know exactly what it is. But anyway, the whole thing about stand-up, it's actually pretty easy. Like, a lot of times people are like, well, he doesn't have full beam combo, or, doesn't have plasma. Is it worth it? I mean, like, you're gaining time. Like, even if you have new route beam that only does 300 versus full beam, you're still doing a third of what you would have done. So you're probably, if it's 20 seconds, you're still going to save, potentially like 6 seconds or so. So it's almost always worth it to try to get in a little bit. I don't think it's going to be big enough. Like, the amount of time that Mass will save on his stand-up and potentially Fox's on his, it's a decent amount, but I think it's a little bit smaller than what would be required. So I would still say, even though this is a little concerning, Lomian not doing the speed zeb skip and using ammo, considering that he technically has the weakest beam, but it's still plasma, so it's still 450, so he won't have like a super slow fight. I think it's going to be enough, though.
No, he would definitely need a weaker beam to be able to take this out. I don't know. I still feel like it's going to be a very, very close time. I still think I still am giving it to the Clippers, but I think it's going to be a little closer than we think because of how fast Mass is finishing right now comparative to what Lomian and Nasarius still have to do.
Yeah, I just think Fox might be too far behind.
Still, I think right now, I think the race is actually closer than we thought it was going to be, because we were calling minutes before, and I feel like this is less than a minute of difference.
You know what? Another thing, I almost hate to do this on comms, because obviously, like, we're not trying to criticize the runners at all. We're all friends here, but at the same time, it's like we're trying to like accurately represent like what's happening in the race, right?
Yeah.
It is very possible that, first of all, I want to point this out. I don't think any one decision led to a win or a loss here, because there's multiple things that all four runners did that they could have done differently that would have saved time, right? But another thing is when Mass went and tried to fight Ridley on 4 tanks, it probably ate up like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So it's possible, depending on how close this is, that also could have done it too.
Yeah, when you're looking back on a race, it could be a variety of decisions, because there's the same thing like Mr. Fox not getting the gravity suit when he could have. You could say Mass fighting Ridley and being unsuccessful there. But what a swing in the race it would have been if Mass had been successful on that Ridley fight. So you could argue that it was still worth a try anyways. So I always feel like you can try to narrow it down to like one decision or one thing, but just randomizers being what they are, it's just a whole lot of factors just in a row, and you can't really beat yourself up over like one decision.
Nah, of course not. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's all a learning process. I mean, this is why you run a bunch of seeds and run a bunch of races, is because these things are very complicated. And so the more experience you get, the more you learn, the more you adapt. It's just part of the process. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've screwed up or failed to do certain things, either in practice or in a race. It just kind of is what it is, but it's part of the process. That's what makes you get better. But yeah, I think it is important, though, if you're trying, if your goal is to continue to legitimately get better at it, I think you need to have an accurate understanding of what happened, because if you don't have an accurate understanding of what happened, then there's not much to learn anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think those two things. I think the biggest thing was Mr. Fox. If he'd have just gone straight to gravity, I think they win this race very, very comfortably. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Also, it looks like Mr. Fox, I think he needs to do a crouching charge shot with, or he's at least gonna do the speed booster.
I mean, definitely worth first trying it if you can get it. Was that a first try speed zeb skip? I wasn't watching.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think it's if you have speed booster, it's worth giving it a one try, and if you don't do it, just use ice as the backup.
All right, when the series gets done, let's do the math, because we can look at the finish times of all three runners and then look and see what Mr. Fox needs to figure out if we think he's going to get there or not.
I unfortunately don't have the race room open right now, but I feel like it's less than a minute of difference. I'm trying to think, because Mr. Fox, what is it? It's like once you get into the cutscene, it's what, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't actually know exactly what it is, and at this point, it's looking unlikely to do stand-up. I guess he could still do stand-up with the reserve. It won't save a ton of time, but it'll save a little bit. All right, once Lomian gets up onto the ship, let's take a look at the 3 times so far, and then see what Mr. Fox needs.
So Fox is going for stand-up. I'm a big advocate of stand-up regardless of what your beam is, because I just like having something to do during the cutscene anyway. So that is going to save Fox a little bit of time. But
Okay.
wow.
So Nefarious and Lomian finished exactly 40 seconds apart. So I'm going to add 20 seconds to Nefarious's finish time, like he was the one that was faster. So it's their average is 1:17:38. Mass had a 1:14:34. I'm going to round that up just to make it easier and say it's a 1:14:38 real quick. That's 3 minutes faster. So Mr. Fox would need to be a 1:20, probably 20 something to get there. And I don't think it's going to be quite enough.
Still ridiculously close. Oh my
very,
God.
very, very close. Yeah. And remember that whatever Mr. Fox's finish time is, like over the 1:20, like I'm just gonna say 1:20:30 or whatever it was. Every second is only a half a second because it's average, right? So we'll have to take however long is the difference between him reaching 1:20:30 and chop it in half to actually see like what the total difference is. But this ended up being a really, really great race, man. This was a lot of fun.
Jeez, imagine if Fox had gotten the crate quick kill or gotten the baby skip or both. Stand-up did save quite a bit of time there.
Okay, so usually about like a minute 15, usually less than that, but ballpark a minute 15 on the escape. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to be quite enough. He would need to finish within like 40 seconds from now, but it's going to be like another, I don't know, 30 seconds or so.
So we're talking like basically about a 30-second difference in winning versus losing here.
Maybe less. I don't know. Let's hold on. Let's take a look and see. So this is about when Mr. Fox would have needed to finish, roughly, to have won. And he's maybe about 30 seconds. Yeah, I think it's like 20. I think the actual finish time, if you average them all together, is going to be like 20 seconds or less. Wow.
Jeez. And as the second place finishing team, you're certainly probably beating yourself up about a lot of decisions. But either way, I think it was an extremely well-run race by all of the runners. So super GGs to everybody. What a great race. I really enjoyed watching this one.
Yeah, this was great. Both races today by both these teams have been fantastic.
11 seconds, according to Jestro.
Man, that's really close.
Oh my God. Are we doing math, Hollows? I'm not doing the math. I'm trusting Jestro.
It's under 30 seconds no matter what, no matter how you slice it. But yeah, extremely, extremely close. Very, very, very fun race. That was a lot of fun. And we are now joined by, it looks like, all members of both teams. I think Mr. Fox is still in the setup. Maybe he'll jump in here in just a second. But Lomian and Nefarious, GG on the win. Mass and Mr. Fox, GG on a wonderfully run race as well. Let's start with the winners, the Clippers. This was a really fun seed. Tell us a little bit about how you guys approached this seed.
Yeah, just pretty concerning early on with no power bombs, and then I thought ice. I wasn't sure if ice was in logic without a way to get out, so I skipped that. And yeah, that was a big worry because that was power bombs, and you could have got them there.
Honestly, Lone Rangers got ahead by making the play to ice beam a little bit faster than y'all did on the Clippers side. That turned out to be really, really cool. That they found that, and you found the Cathedral location. I don't know. I would go back and watch this race. Both teams had really compelling decisions. It was a very, very close race, and probably one of the more exciting ones I've seen so far.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, for sure. That was, I think these guys said in chat, GG first, by the way, but they said pretty intense, and I think that was Fox and I's same sentiment the whole time. Pretty tense seed. So.
Yeah, we were sweating a little bit early, I think, kind of racking our brains where we could go to get bombs or power bombs or what we may have missed. Turns out Brinstar was completely worthless this seed. It was a massive red herring. I think that was probably the big difference. Because I don't know if you guys looped back through Green Brinstar or not, but we split up pretty early on, and that really worried me for exactly what happened because we ended up being really far apart. But yeah, GG, good job on the win.
Yeah, GG's.
Thank you. Yeah,
I guess, Kip, do you want to ask Mr. Fox the question that you had about the X-ray play?
Yeah, so Fox, obviously GG's to both teams. You all played great, and this was a very challenging seed, particularly I think for co-op. But sort of the biggest time difference I noticed in the late game was you went up and I think did the full loop of wreck ship, and I think even did bowling, but you didn't end up picking up the space jump. And then you went back down to gravity or to X-ray to get gravity and use the spring ball jump. Was there a particular reason that you decided to go through the top of wreck ship? Because if you'd have just gone straight to X-ray immediately once Mass found it, I think that would have put y'all on the path to being a few minutes ahead.
So at least my initial plan was to get space jump, but just not thinking through the proper number of power bombs I needed. When I got there, I was one short to get out. So I decided to cut my losses and at least get high jump, which definitely made the X-ray check a lot easier. But part of me also wanted to kill Ridley, since I think at that point I had 6 or 7 E-tanks and a couple of reserves, so I was pretty comfy.
Yeah, that was a well done fight, by the way. Good job.
So my thinking was, well, I'm already here. There's a couple items I need. I can take out this boss, not have to come back here. And I've got to go down anyways. So yeah, I think maybe looking back at it, having spring ball, I could have spring ball jumped up regardless without high jump. And really only needed to kill Ridley, which at that point I guess could have waited until cleanup.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it, especially with space jump and high jump both being at the wreck ship. Those are really nice items, make Lower Norfair a lot more comfortable. Obviously, if you'd have gone straight to gravity and then y'all found Varia and then you'd gone down to Lower Norfair without doing all that wreck ship stuff, you would have had a slightly slower Lower Norfair, but you still probably could have spring ball jumped up worst room and then, gotten out or whatever. That probably would have been a little faster than doing that whole loop, especially, unfortunately, with the power bomb situation. But trust me, I've been in that spot several times before with the power bombs and wreck ships. But yeah, overall, this was a really fun race to watch. Tell us a little bit, both teams, just about the process of practicing for this. I find this to be a lot different sort of style of play wise than how you approach one-on-one or even multi-world. What did you guys learn this week as you prepped?
Yeah, we just well, for one thing, we this was our first time seeing a seed that didn't have power bombs immediately. So that was something we sort of had to adapt to on the fly. But yeah, it was sort of, I think our process was mostly just trying to figure out where can we create the divergence in our tracks without, unnecessarily just skipping things.
Yeah, so I think I think on our side, it was a little different just because we kind of had a last minute sort of shakeup. Our method was to like me to jump in at the last minute, and Fox and I did a couple seeds last night just to kind of get some sort of battle rhythm, just because all of our team was just having scheduling conflicts, and so.
Thanks for stepping in like that. That was
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Speaking of, that was my fault. I was thinking I didn't have anything going on Sunday. Ends up I do, and it comes down to a last minute shuffle. But at least with beforehand, Papa Shmo and myself were kind of playing around with the idea of the early meme route split. Didn't really get to do it this seed because of the powerbomb shenanigans. But we actually learned quite a bit, which I think, at least when Mass and I practiced last night, we were able to go over it. Just trying our best to split up as much as we can when we're in the same area. But yeah, it's definitely a different way of thinking about it. It adds an extra layer of complexity, especially when you have a seed like this, where you tend not to be side by side quite as much. I think this is definitely one of the harder seeds that you could throw at something like this.
I agree.
It really does strain your communication and how you're going to reroute things, because you're not really given much very early on.
No, I agree. To your point, I actually find this pretty compelling. I think we've done a multi-world tournament before. I didn't, I wasn't part of organizing it. I just played in it, but it was really fun. I wouldn't mind seeing like a co-op tournament at some point, like a 2-player just straight up co-op the entire time. I think that'd be really fun to do. But I do want to mention one thing kind of before we get close to wrapping up. Both of y'all's teams are in the same division as my team, which is really exciting. We've already played the Lone Rangers. I think next week we actually have the Clippers.
Yep.
Personally, this is just my opinion. I think the Clippers has one of the most dangerous teams in the whole tournament. Lomi and Asarius are both very good. And then who's y'all's third player? Is it Beamer maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, Beamer's a really good player too. And then on the Lone Ranger side, I've been really impressed with how y'all been playing. And Mr. Fox, I know that you were kind of like a last-minute addition to the team because of Kev's injury and, are getting a lot of experience recently. But I legitimately think that you are picking up on a lot of the more nuanced stuff about Rando very, very quickly. So I hope that you're having a fun experience and that you continue to play it, whether in the future on teams or one-on-one. So this was really, really fun. Y'all's 2 races today were great.
If I could ask something about the first seed, I know it's been a while, but I was just curious whether you guys picked Wreck Ship early.
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, because I felt like that was sort of maybe our biggest advantages. We went up to Asarius went up, or no, it wasn't me, whoever.
You going to Wreck Ship, Lomian, was exactly what the biggest difference was, and it was because you found Charge behind Ridley.
Right.
Had you not found Charge behind Ridley, I really think it would have been very close because you both would have had to go on ammo hunts. But that knowledge meant that Fox and Maz had to still check around for ammo, and I'm sure that they were not happy when they actually found Charge behind Ridley.
Okay, yeah, that was.
Can confirm I was not.
Yeah, that swung the entire race because prior to that point, your deviation by you going to Wreck Ship, Lomian, if you had literally found any other item there, Lone Rangers would have won that.
Wow.
Charge was the absolute best item you could have found.
Yeah, I knew it just blowing through Meridia without checking anything. That definitely felt good.
Yeah, that made it huge. Now, Charge was in Main Street Missiles. This one, Science, it was behind Ridley in the first seed.
Yeah, I think the first seed we ran, well, at least when we were running practice, kind of like how these 2 seeds played out. We found Ridley likes to be at Wreck Ship.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he likes to be there. So,
yeah, you got Ridley at Wreck Ship both seeds, right? Holy crap.
Yeah, and I think maybe 5 of the 6 practice seeds we played, Ridley was there. So we were really encouraged by our practice to skip Wreck Ship early unless we had, unless we found Fantoon and Speed Booster and there really wasn't much turning up in Upper Norfair, then we might make that play. But we found that, at least from our practice seeds, that ignoring the wreck ship until maybe a little bit later on was the better play. Obviously not for that seed because Charge was behind Ridley, but
yeah, but honestly, more often than not, wreck ship early in a boss rando is always a bad play. Like, so I don't really think either team made any bad decisions. You know, it's just sometimes that's kind of how rando works out. Like, I'd be proud both teams with just how you played, the checks you made, the places you went, all very justifiable, all very good plays. It's just, we're talking, I mean, these were close races and pretty interesting. So, I mean, GG's to all of you. These were great races to watch, and I'm glad I was here for both of them today.
No, I was happy with both seeds. I think, if anything, the first seed we probably could have routed quite a bit better, especially with ammo. Just speaking for myself, I probably should have grabbed quite a few more supers, at least the ones that were getting called out, and I was sort of running past. That probably would have saved us enough time to make it a little more of a close race, but on the second seed, I'm pretty happy with how we played it, considering it was a curveball we hadn't experienced in practice.
Yeah, these seeds are definitely rough if you wind up in an ammo hunt without Charge.
Yeah. Well, and before we, sounds like Kip was maybe leaning towards cutting off or signing off or whatever, but I just wanted to thank Kev for being here for both, Mr. Dependable, Jester Zooks also. Eden did comms on the first with you, right?
Oh yeah, Eden was here for the first one.
Awesome, thanks for that. And Kip, thanks for jumping in last minute. It's always fun to race. Getting to race co-op is really kind of neat because you get to build some rapport even with your own teammates, right? Like this seed sucked, but at least I had someone to talk to the whole time while it was sucking.
Yeah, definitely. I looked up and saw my timer at like 1 hour and 4 minutes, and was like, wow, has it really been that long?
Yeah. So thanks everybody for participating and for doing the comms and all that. So.
Sounds good. Well, does anybody else have anything left to say before we close down the show? Because I know they got a Super Mario Brothers 3 match coming up, so I think we got to get going.
No, just GG, echo there. Thanks for all the crew signing up, and again, thanks for rescheduling at short notice.
Yep, I really do appreciate it, guys. Especially Mass for stepping in last second and being available to get this thing done. Thank you guys for putting it together, and look forward to next week.
Awesome. Well, Kip, thank you so much for jumping on and doing commentary with me. It's always really great to do commentary with somebody else other than by yourself. So I'm really glad you're able to jump in. And you've always been a favorite of mine as far as a player and a commentator. So it's always great to reconnect and chat with you. And thanks to Jestro Zooks on tracking and all of our great runners today racing and all of our fans out in chat. So I've had a wonderful day today, and just thanks to everybody.
Yeah, same, Kev. GG. Thanks for watching, everybody. There's a lot of races today, so get back out and support the races. And good luck to all the runners the rest of this week and obviously moving into next week. And we will see you next mission.